Recently, I ran a poll right here on the channel to see what you guys wanted me to cover next, and the majority of you voted for a video about the woman's ego. Well, I listened, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. So, let's get right to it. There's a dangerous life floating around in modern dating culture that men should constantly bend, adjust, and apologize for simply existing, that women by default are the prize, while men are expected to prove their worth. But here's the truth. Most men don't want to admit. Many women walk into relationships with an ego so inflated, so untouchable, that it quietly suffocates every ounce of respect they could ever have for you. Now, when I say destroy a woman's ego, I don't mean hurt, insult her, or act out of bitterness that's weak any man can lash out. What I mean is stripping away that untouchable aura, removing the pedestal he's placed herself on, and reminding her without a single word that respect in a relationship is note owns. And here's where it gets interesting. You don't have to shout, argue, or even defend yourself. In fact, words are often useless in this game. A woman's ego feeds on reaction. The more you try to convince, the more you try to prove, the more you try to win her over, the stronger her ego becomes. But when you move differently, when your silence, your detachment, your refuel be swayed, communicates more than any speech could ever say, that's when here go cracks. That's when she realizes that the game she thought she was winning is being quietly dismantled by a man who simply refuses to play. So, in this video, I'll break down exactly how to destroy a woman's ego without saying a single word. 6 psychological strategies that require no shouting, no explaining, just control, discipline, and presence. By the end, you'll understand why silence and action speak louder than any argument ever could. Let quote S begin. Firstly, before you can understanding the source dismantle her ego, you need to understand the foundation. You need to know how it's built. A woman's ego doesn't appear out of thin air. It's fed by attention, by validation, by the pedestal society places her on. From social media, likes a constant male admiration, the modern woman is rarely forced to confront her own flaws. And here's the key. When someone has been endlessly validated, they begin to believe their value is unquestionable, absolute, untouchable. But watch what happens when you don't feed it, when you don't chase, when you don't rush to compliment, when you don't reward every little gesture with over-the-top attention. Suddenly, she feels something she's not as town certainty. Think about it. She posts a picture, and men flood the comments with hearts and compliments. She enters a room, and men's eyes follow her like she's gravity. That's normal for her. But when she meets you and your energy doesn't shift, your eyes don't linger too long, and your attention doesn't come cheaply, she feels the crack. She begins to wonder, why isn't the reacting like the others? Why isn't the feeding me what I expect? And here's the psychological trigger. The moment she starts questioning her impact on you, her ego begins to shrink. Without saying a word, you've destabilized her. You've reminded her silently that her beauty, charm, or attitude doesn't give her automatic power over you. This is the foundation of ego destruction. Not through aggression, but through withdrawal of energy. You're not cruel. You're not dismissive. You're simply unmoved. And that's enough to disturb the illusion she's been living in. The next step is power of indifference, to show her something even more threatening. Control over yourself. Indifference is one of the most powerful tools a man can use, but it has to be real, not forced. Fake indifference is just pretending not to care, while secretly hoping she notices. True indifference is freedom. It means You don't need her validation, her attention, or her approval to feel like a man. Most women are experts at testing men. They'll push buttons, act cold, or pull away just to see if you'll chase. Most men fail these tests because they panic, thinking they're about to lose her. But when you don't react when her games don't move you, her ego takes the hit. Picture this. She ignores your message for hours. Most guys double text, call, or demand an explanation. But you don't even flinch. You stay busy, focused on your own life. She expects you to spiral. Instead, she sees you calm, grounded, unbothered. Without saying anything, you've told her, I don't chase, I don't beg, I don't compete. That silence speaks louder than any argument. Suddenly, her ego built on the belief that she can control your emotions collapses. She realizes her usual tactics don't work on you. And once again, she feels unsettled, maybe even intimidated. This isn't about playing hard to get . It say about embodying self-respect so deeply that you genuinely can't be shaken. And when she sees that, her ego has no fuel left to burn. But indifference alone isn't enough. Mystery. To truly dismantle her ego, you have told something else. Mystery. Women are drawn to mystery, but they're also threatened by it. A man who reveals everything about himself too quickly is easy to categorize, easy to control. Buddha man who stays calm, observant, and unpredictable, that unsettles her. Silence can be strategic. When you don't over-explain, when you don't justify your actions, when you let your presence speak for itself, you create a space here. Can't navigate. She thrives on certainty, knowing she has the upper hand, knowing she can predict you. But mystery denies her that comfort. Imagine this. She asks a question designed to corner you. Something like, so, how are you with last night? Instead of scrambling to explain, you simply smile and change the subject. No lies, no excuses, just calm redirection. That silence eats at her far more than any defensive speech could. You run predictability, dismantles her sense of control. Her ego feeds on dominance. But when she can't read you, when she can't easily place you in a box, she feels powerless. And powerlessness to an ego-driven woman is like starvation. Mystery makes her chase clarity. And the more she chases, the more her ego shrinks. Once you've mastered mystery, passing her tests, the next step is to turn her own tests back on her. Every man will be tested. Her way of measuring your strength, your stability, your ability to lead. But most men fail because they react too strongly, too emotionally, too quickly. When she tests you, maybe by insulting you playfully, withholding affection, or comparing you to someone else, she's not looking for words. She's watching your reaction. Do you defend yourself desperately? Do you crumble under pressure? Or do you remain calm, almost amused, as if her test barely touched you? Passing her tests, silently, is the fastest way to dismantle her ego. Because ego thrives on control, on seeing you flinch. But when you don't, when you laugh it off, or simply move on as if nothing happened, she realizes she can't bend you. Picture this. She says, other guys would do more for me. Most men would argue, try harder, or feel threatened. You simply smirk and let the silence linger. That silence hits harder than any comeback. It tells her you don't feel the need to compete, and you certainly don't need her approval. With every test you pass insolence, here go takes another blow. She begins to respect you, not because you told her to, but because you showed her you can't be manipulated. Once you've mastered passing her tests, there's another living in your frame level. Living in your own frame so strongly that she has no choice but to follow. Your frame is the mental space you carry into every interaction. It's your world, your rules, your perspective. Most men give up their frame the moment they meet a beautiful woman. They start agreeing too much, over-explaining, adjusting their values just to please her. That surrender feeds her ego. It tells her she is the leader. But when you hold your frame, when you stand by your beliefs, your schedule, your priorities without apology, you silently destroy her ego. Because ego expects compliance. Ego expects submission. When you don't give it, you force her to respect your world. For example, she tries to change your plans last minute. Instead of arguing or bending, you calmly say, "That doesn't work for me." Another time. No anger, no pleading, just firmness. She may act annoyed at first, but inside her ego is cracking. Why? Because you showed her you're not afraid to walk away. Living in your frame means she can't drag you into her emotional storms. You remain centered, calm, and immovable. And when a woman sees a man living like that, she realizes her ego has no power over him. And finally, the most silent yet, walking away. Devastating move of all, the willingness to walk away. Nothing destroys a woman's ego faster than realizing she doesn't own you, that no matter how beautiful, charming, or intelligent she is, you will leave if she disrespects you. And the key is, you don't have to announce it. You show it through action. When she crosses a boundary, you don't argue. You don't beg. You simply distance yourself. When she tries to use silence as a weapon, you match it without complaint. When she disrespects him, your value, you show her through absence that her ego cannot buy your loyalty. Walking away is the ultimate checkmate because it removes the very oxygen. Her ego survives on your attention, not without your presence. Her inflated sense of self shrivels. She may try to pull you back to test if she still has power. But if you stand firm, she will feel their reality. She never truly controlled you. And here's the irony. The man willing to walk away is often the one she fights hardest to keep. Because respect and desire are born out where ego dies. So here's the truth. Destroying a woman's ego doesn't require shouting, arguments, or cruelty. It requires discipline, silence, indifference, mystery, the ability to pass tests without flinching, the strength to live in your own frame, and the ultimate weapon, the willingness to walk away. Each of these strategies doesn't just break down her ego, they elevate your own value. They remind her that respect is mutual, not automatic. That attraction is earned, not owed. And that a man who cannot be controlled, a man who cannot be ignored. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever used silence, mystery, or indifference to shift the dynamic with a woman? Did you see how it shook her ego without you saying a single word? Drop your experience in the comments. I'll be reading them and I'll reach out. Because this channel isn't just about advice, about building men who understand their worth. And remember, sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. I'll see you in the next.